Hi, my name is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast, and today I want to talk to you about time management. Time management is a huge topic, and look, as a business owner, I think this was one of the biggest things I've learned from a business coach that actually did allow me to make a significant change in my business. I find that a lot of people are not really aware of how to manage their time and really go with the flow. Now, there's a couple of tricks that you could potentially apply to get more out of your day, but it really depends what your goals are. So I think before you jump into any time management or anything else, it's important to understand that, if you got goals of potentially being able to do more or be able to, complete certain tasks or be able to work efficiently as a team, it all really bottlenecks to time management. So productivity, efficiency, overall success are the sort of goals that you potentially be looking at. So first of all, I think it's important to be self-aware and understand exactly what's happening with your time, because a lot of the time we do spend time in situations like commuting to work, for example, or we spend our lunchtime a certain way. And look, while efficiency is all good and well, you obviously also want to be able to maintain the work-life balance, because otherwise, without a proper rest, you'll run yourself to the ground. So I think it's important to understand and identify exactly what your goals are before you jump on anything. Now, it's also very important to understand what your time wasting habits are, because a lot of the time we sort of fall into this habit where one thing sort of leads to the other. Hey, you may start watching a YouTube video and next thing you know, you're checking out some music videos or whatnot, and your time's gone sideways. Certainly anything to do with social media, YouTube, Facebook, and so on, is designed specifically to engage us to the maximum and really play with our dopamine levels. Now, that's completely another topic altogether, but you need to understand that there's obviously a formula behind all this as to how it actually engages you and why it is that you're spending a lot of time with things like Netflix, for example. It is very addictive, by the way. Before you jump into time management, and once you sort of identify the tasks that you need to get done during the day, I think it's important to measure up all your tasks on the urgency and the importance matrix. So it's a very simple technique. You can basically have a list of your tasks and basically allocate the urgency or importance levels to them. Really what you want to do is focus on something that's urgent and important, and then basically allocate everything else that potentially isn't that urgent or that important, because a lot of the time we sort of jump onto things quite instinctively, or we choose tasks over certain tasks based on how easy they are. Now, I know there's obviously a big topic of multitasking, and multitasking is overall not good for you in the long run. I mean, it may be a good idea to run a couple of things side by side, but if you do this continuously, it does really create a lot of chaos in your head. And overall, if you're managing many things, if you're doing many things at once, what really matters is what you're able to complete. Do you want to try to manage a number of projects but not finish anything in one day, or do you actually want to have a solid outcome or something? I think it really comes down to how you're getting paid. If you run a business, it's very important to understand what is it that you get paid for. Because if it's a bigger project, fair enough. But if you're able to break it down into measurable chunks, you may be able to change the whole picture of the whole thing. So let's talk about the strategies around time management. One of the most effective strategies, in my opinion, that I've come across is the Pomodoro Technique. Now, this is about breaking down your day in 25-minute intervals, uninterrupted chunks, and having a 5-minute break in between. Now, it's been proven that if you work in 25-minute intervals without any disruptions, you are able to get a lot more done. So it's just about zooming in and being focused on the whole thing. In fact, Tim Ferriss has got this whole show called the Tim Ferriss Experiment. He does talk a lot about uninterrupted study time when he talks about things like learning a language, for example. So it's super important. It's about the way your brain works at a certain level in order for you to actually get the most out of it. So first rule is make sure that you break down your day into 25-minute chunks. So 25 minutes, 25 minutes, 25 minutes. And then you want to make sure there's 5-minute breaks in between. Go for a walk, drink of water, go to the bathroom, whatever it is that you need to do, but disconnect for 5 minutes and then come back and do another 25. After you do 4 of these sections, typically it's a good idea to take a 15 or half an hour break, because all you need to do is really, reset your head in order to go for another chunk of those uninterrupted intervals. Now, uninterrupted is the key here. If people walk in and say, hey, can I talk to you for a minute, or do you have 5 minutes? Really, you just need to put a note or tell everybody that you're not to be interrupted, and make sure that you set your phone not to interrupt you as well. And I think this is what's going to help you really focus. You'd be surprised how much you get done. I find that having, maybe 2 hours all up of this uninterrupted time in the morning really allows me to get all the key things out of the way. And really, it's about making sure you can plan forward as well. So if you can really define a little bit of a schedule for these uninterrupted chunks to be slotted in, that works even better. You may find that historically, you may potentially see patterns as to how you run your week. Maybe there are some days you're really good at calling people, or maybe some days are really good at doing your payroll and so on. So if you see these patterns and they work for you, maybe there is a bit of a natural pattern in what you do, and it's just about making this a little bit more efficient for you too. Now, one thing I find a lot of people do is emails. Hey, if you're in front of a computer, you've got your emails running in front of you ongoing. Now, the tip that I got from my business coach when I got into time management was to basically check my email only a few times a day. Now, yes, that did sound very strange. However, I think that was one of the best tips. If you check your email in the morning and basically come up with a task list for your day, and then maybe check that around lunchtime, and then the end of the day, you'd be surprised how much more you can get done. It's purely all about that distraction that the email creates when you're sort of trying to focus on something. And a lot of the time we do it so much that we don't even notice it. There is the email, there is the phone, there is the social media, there's someone walking in, there's someone calling you. There's so many things that will take you out of your routine. But if you're able to focus and really develop better habits, I reckon that's what's really going to help you. So Pomodoro is one of those techniques, and I think you should definitely try it. Now, a bit of a tip here. If you're using Chrome browser, I think Firefox may have this as well, but there's actually a Pomodoro timer plugin available. So by default, if you set it up, it'll actually start to run those 25-minute intervals for you, and you can actually change and adjust that as need be as well. So I think that's super tool, and you should definitely give that a try. It is very difficult at first to trial something like that, but I'm pretty sure if you have at least a couple of runs, or at least let's say aim for 4 uninterrupted sections throughout the day, you would be surprised how much you're going to get done. So another thing is distractions. Now, you may find that it could be your setup, or it could be how your desk is positioned in your office that could be creating all sorts of distractions, mess on your desk and all that sort of stuff. I think it's really important to address external factors that could also be distracting you from, focusing on the task that you're doing. And overall, really important to eliminate them as well. Now, staying focused is really the tip here, and there's a lot of different ways you can really approach this, and there's a lot of books on the whole working focused and time management and overall. But at the end of the day, you need to find something that works for you. I mean, I'm telling you some very general things that I've come across, and implementing them has certainly helped me. However, I find that everybody's different, and sometimes you need a little bit more of a guidance in order to be able to really come up with something that works for you specifically. So I find that you really need a source or something that actually provides more references to the problem. So one thing I found was this book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, here is the actual book. For those of you who are not, I will add a link in the actual description of this podcast. But James Clear talks about how tiny changes make remarkable results. So as an example, he talks about little things like, okay, if you want to start, let's say, jogging in the morning, putting your runners early on actually does motivate you to do things differently. So having your running shoes right next to your bed could potentially really change everything around. If you want to start consuming more water, for example, having a water right next to your bed or filling up your water bottle, before you go to sleep could actually make quite a substantial difference. Now, just like that with time management, all the small, tiny changes can make a huge difference. And I think if you're looking for something a little bit more broken down, Atomic Habits is a great book to potentially listen. I love audio, or read if you like the physical books, in order for you to get a little bit more guidance around this as well. Now, at the end of the day, I think if you're able to delegate better and work with a team, if you're able to manage your time and other people's time, I think you'll be able to create a better change. So for me, this is one of the approaches to improving your business and making it better, time management. If there's something else, please feel free to share with me and our listeners as well. I think that leaving comments below really starts a bit of a conversation. So it'd be good to see that within the platform that you're using, if that allows for comments. Otherwise, look, guys, I look forward to your questions on time management. I have done quite a lot of different personal development coaches, and time management was actually one of the first. So I 100% appreciate everything that I've learned. And I think if you're able to make your day, 5 or 10% more efficient and balance out between your work and your life, I think you'd be a lot happier as well. Anyway, my name is Alexei. This is Better Business Podcast. I hope to speak to you soon.